Hey, what's up guys, Yusuf here, back with another video, and let's talk about the iPhone 12. So this year's 12 and 12 mini are Apple's succession to last year's iPhone 11. The 12 features the same 6.1-inch display as the iPhone 11, but in a smaller footprint. So the iPhone 12 mini, however, can be compared to something like the iPhone SE. The form factor is actually pretty similar, however the mini does have a bigger screen and better pixel density. Now out of all these phones, the mini does have the best screen. That's just because more pixels are packed into such a small area. This year, Apple decided to give all the 12s the Super Retina XDR display. Now normally last year and the year before, it was only the higher end models that would get this OLED display. So now it's across the board, no matter which phone you get the OLED. And since all of the new iPhone 12s do feature an OLED screen, that means you'll get much more rich colors. And when you're watching darker content like movies set in the night, whenever the screen comes in contact with something black, it'll just turn off the pixels. And you can see the difference when you compare it to something like the iPhone 11, where the screen is always on no matter which type of content you're watching. So with an OLED, it's a lot more efficient, and the display quality is just better in itself. The iPhone 12 and 12 mini do have a slightly lower brightness capacity than the 12 Pro. So the iPhone 12 and 12 mini stay at 625 nits normally, however the 12 Pro series stay at 800 nits normally and can also get up to 1200 while watching HDR content. Now like I said, the 12 and 11 do have the same screen size, so when you put them side by side, yes, the 12 might look like a smaller phone, but you're not actually giving up any screen real estate. You do get slightly better water resistancy with this phone. You can take it to up to 6 meters for 30 minutes, as opposed to 2 meters for 30 minutes with the iPhone 11. The iPhone 12 is now using the A14 Bionic chip. Apple claims it's the fastest processor ever put in an iPhone. It's a 6-core processor with 4 GPU cores. The camera changes are something you probably won't notice if I put them side by side. You can see that the quality doesn't dramatically change from the 11 to the 12. Like in some examples, you can kind of see that there's subtle detail changes between the phones. The changes are not super dramatic or anything, but you can still see that there is a noticeable difference. Now when you are looking at the pictures side by side on the phones, the 12 does have an OLED, so colors might appear more bright, but when you put them into a computer and look at them on the same screen, you can really tell that there isn't much of a difference. That's because the 12 still has the same two lenses. The ultra wide has an aperture of 2.4, while the wide has an aperture of 1.6, as opposed to 1.8 on the iPhone 11. The iPhone 12s are the first phone to be able to shoot in Dolby Vision, so now you can shoot HDR content in Dolby Vision for up to 30 frames per second. And also for photos, you get Smart HDR3 capabilities. Also something that I didn't really use with the iPhone 11 was time-lapse at night. So now with the 12, they introduced night mode time-lapse, which gives you those night mode capabilities for time-lapse. I wasn't a big time-lapse taker with the iPhone 11, and I probably won't notice this feature when I use the 12. However, if you're big on time-lapses, you'll notice this change with the iPhone 12. The front-facing camera can also shoot in HDR with Dolby Vision. And new with the iPhone 12, you get Deep Fusion and Night Mode on the front-facing camera. That's something you didn't have with the iPhone 11, and it's good to have that better lighting capability with the front-facing camera. Probably the biggest change with these phones were the 5G capabilities. So during the event, Apple announced that these phones will have 5G connectivity, and if you have a compatible plan with select carriers, you can definitely take advantage of these new capabilities. Now with AT&T and the area that I'm in, we get 5G, but we don't really notice that difference. But I'm sure as you get closer to 5G towers, it'll definitely become faster and you'll notice that difference. 5G is relatively new, and it might take a long time for it to reach a certain point. And when 5G is ready to go and blossoming in the next 5 years, your iPhone 12 will totally be able to handle it because they're built to last. Now MagSafe, they brought it back in kind of a new way. Instead of the old charging port on the MacBook, it's now a wireless charging pad that's magnetic. So if you have a MagSafe accessory that's made by Apple, you'll get a little animation when you attach the accessory just to show that MagSafe is connected. And the charger is essentially a wireless charger with magnets, so it just clips onto the back of your iPhone, and it can totally work with something like the 11 or even 8 with wireless charging. You just won't get that magnetic capability. And it avoids you having to line up your phone with the wireless charger and just snap it onto it and it'll just click. Apple also introduced a new type of glass called Ceramic Shield. Tiny ceramic crystals are infused into the glass matrix of the iPhone's display, so it gives it slightly better drop protection. It's also slightly less prone to scratches, but that doesn't mean rock your iPhone without a screen protector. The 12 also has an obviously bigger battery than the 12 mini, so you will get more usage out of it in a given day. But other than that, there isn't really much differences between the 11 and the 12 series. Now the differences may come between the iPhone 11 and the 12 Pros. I ordered my 12 Pro and I'm going to do the comparison whenever it comes. It's currently back ordered right now due to a manufacturing delay. So when it comes in mid-December, I'll be sure to make a video on it and compare it to something like the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. But other than that, that's about it for the changes. If there's anything I missed, please leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to check it out in the next video. But until then, I'll come back with the iPhone 12 Pro.